So in this video, I'm going to be going over my journey of becoming a millionaire. And it's kind of a cringy thing to say or to talk about, but the truth of the matter is that I think people need to be more transparent when it comes to money. I think we need to be open to sharing our successes and our failures, what worked and didn't work, the things that we would change, go back and never do again. I don't like the idea of how money is perceived in this world. I grew up to where no one ever talked about money. It was a very taboo topic. It was inappropriate. People in my community, in my town, money was just something that just wasn't talked about, and especially within my family. I think it's also important to understand and question ourselves of how we perceive money, right? So me, I look at money as something that just flows in and out of my life. I'm not emotionally attached to it. I know that if I lose it, I could make it because there's plenty of money in the world to go around for everyone, and I feel confident in my ability to be creative and find ways to make money, okay? Because I like to take chances. I'm not afraid to take chances, and I'm not afraid to fail. So I was on Twitter and I came across this article posted from Entrepreneur, 20 Habits that Prevent You from Being a Millionaire. And I'm like, this is interesting. So technically I became a millionaire for the first time when I was 24 years old, okay? But then I got demoted, all right? So my crypto portfolio went out of control. I was 24, kind of accidentally became a millionaire. And then I lost the most of it because I had strong hands, which have now paid off. But at the time, my portfolio was just tanking, got demoted as a millionaire, and then just kind of sat around for a few years like I'm not sure what to do. And I'm so glad that I didn't do anything and just held on to my cryptocurrency. I was this close about 17 times to taking my Bitcoin and selling it at like $7,000 to start a business, but I am so glad that I never made that decision. So I'm going to be going over my journey of becoming a millionaire accidentally, and I'm going to be talking about what entrepreneur.com says is 20 habits that prevent you from being a millionaire, and I'm going to tell you if they are accurate or not from my personal experience, okay? Everyone has a different journey of making their money, of hopefully getting to $1 million. But what I can tell you is this. I read something that basically the wealth that someone felt in like the 70s and 80s of when they became a millionaire, today it takes like $6.6 million to feel the same level as wealth. So what I can say is that you can have $1 million and really not feel rich at all, because that's how I feel. I don't live in a nice place. My goal is one thing and one thing only. I just never want to have a real job again. I have no interest in having a 9-to-5. I'd rather sleep on the beach and live in my car than go to a job that I hate 9-to-5, okay? I'd rather literally eat bugs off the ground than go to a job that I hate. Probably not because I'm afraid of lizards, but okay, this is getting a little bit too off track. But for me, it's not about millionaire, multi-millionaire status. It's about freedom. I want to do whatever I want, whenever I want. So all I gotta say is I want to have enough money that I could basically live off the interest, live a really good life, not think twice about spending money, have all the freedom I want, do what I want when I want, and not be concerned about money. So whatever that amount is, and I'm still trying to figure it out, I'll let you know when I figure it out, is what I'll be happy with. Let's get into it. 20 habits that prevent you from being a millionaire. My response. From someone who became a millionaire at 24, got demoted, and then finally reached millionaire status again at 27. Now I'm 28. So most of us, including you, have bad habits that get in the way. If you're able to abandon the following habits, you must be able to understand that becoming a millionaire is not as far from reality as an idea as you think. We all want to be. For me, as for many other people, these 20 habits were what kept me from becoming a millionaire. The truth of the matter is that inflation is on the rise, and being a millionaire is becoming easier and easier every single day. What's interesting is that probably by the time Bitcoin, the end of this bull market or the next one, half of all billionaires will be people in the crypto space. So guess who is going to have a lot of influence and a lot of power? It's the crypto nerds, which I'm super excited about. I feel like we can actually see some fundamental change in the corrupt government. Let's get into it. The 20 habits that prevent you from becoming a millionaire. Sleep when you shouldn't. Okay, well, I'll tell you right now that I had a headache this afternoon. And I tried to meditate for hours to make it go away, and I became so relaxed I ended up falling asleep for 30 minutes. I take naps all the time. For example, I need 8 hours, so if I only sleep 6, I'm not functioning well. I need a nap in the middle of the day, which gives me a ton of energy in the evening. I used to think that I could sleep when I was dead, and I was so anti-sleep, and I didn't care about sleep. I didn't take it seriously. But then I finally realized I suck. I suck when I don't sleep, okay? I suck at driving. My personality sucks. I have no jokes. I don't smile. I'm just such a drag when I don't sleep. So for me, I think it's important to figure out what you need when it comes to sleep and get exactly what you need. Do not be afraid to sleep. Think about it like this. I feel like when I don't sleep, because sleeping to me feels like putting my brain through the dishwasher. Do you want to eat on dirty plates every day? You want to use the same plate that you ate yesterday? Like, I look at taking the right amount of sleep every evening as like washing my body. There is so much recovery happening throughout our body when we sleep. Get the rest you need. Neglecting your health. So I must say that when I had my food truck business, I totally neglected my health. I ate terribly. I slept terribly. I couldn't manage my stress levels properly. I did neglect my health, but it really didn't take, all of the work within my food truck business to become a millionaire. What it took was throwing $7,000 at Ethereum, taking a chance, not really knowing exactly what I was getting into. And then, I'm getting to the point where I'm not cool with using I got lucky anymore, because after you see these big crashes in crypto, like, I didn't sell. I didn't get lucky. I held out when everyone else was panicking. So you know what? I'm not saying anymore. I'm going to try my best to not say anymore that I got lucky, because I didn't. People have been pointing that out on Twitter lately. Like, don't let people say that you got lucky, because when Bitcoin crashed 40%, you didn't freak out. You didn't sell. You held on. And that is the truth, my friends. Don't read. People with money invest the time and effort necessary to expand their knowledge. So I'll tell you this right now. I don't like reading just your regular old book, because I do not absorb information that way. It's so important that you need to understand exactly how you absorb information the best. So for me, I love podcasts and I love YouTube videos and I love articles like this one right here. I don't get much out of books. I don't remember the majority of the things that I read, but when I watch something on YouTube or listen to a podcast or read a short article, I feel like I could take something very specifically and go implement that immediately. Rely on a single source of income. So there have been times in my life where I technically had a single source of income. I mean, you could say that my business was slightly diversified within like different foods within the fair business. I always tried other things, like I wrote a book, which, turned out to be a bit of a fail. But I was always looking for other sources of income while I had my food truck business. I was still doing a little bit of sweepstaking. I remember it was really hard for me to continuously do professional sweepstaking when I had my food truck business, but there was one time where I won $10,000 in my off season. I was super stoked about that. So right now, I couldn't tell you exactly how many sources of income I have, but it's probably around 7. I need to sit down, figure it out, and I'll make a video about that at a later time. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that video. This video is brought to you by my Celsius referral code. Check out my link down below where you can earn $40 in free coins after you deposit funds into your Celsius account. You can also take out loans for as little as 1%. Check out that link and other links down below to support my channel. Thanks. Not setting a budget. Okay, I have never set a budget for myself. I let myself have whatever I want, but I can do that because I don't want nice things, right? I live in this cheap apartment. The nicest car I've bought in is now paying for itself because I rent it out. So I've never felt the need to put myself on a budget, because that just puts constraints on me. So I like intuitive eating. I just eat when I'm hungry and I stop when I'm full. And I kind of like taking that intuitive approach to the budget situation. Not everyone could do that. So this could be potentially very bad advice, but I just get things that I need and not always things that I want. If I get something that I want, there is a very intentional purpose behind it, and there is, it's either going to save me money, save me time, or it's going to produce me money. Number 6, don't think ahead. In my study, 95% of poor people did not save, and most of them accumulated debt to subsidize their quality of life. So that is a great thing that I 100% agree with. So when I first became a millionaire when I was 24 and my crypto portfolio went all the way up to $1.7 million, I could have easily been like, oh my gosh, like I should go get myself a really nice car for like $100,000, $200,000. Like I could have just blown my money. But my thought process was, I'm here for the long term. I'm 24. I want this money to last the rest of my life. And I still have that same thought process now. I don't splurge. I don't go above and beyond because I want my money to last a long time. I don't want to go back to work. So I ask myself, like, is this financial decision going to hurt me when it comes to making this money last till the day I die? So it is important to think ahead and make decisions now. They're going to benefit you later. I see a lot of people that are very far from retirement because they spend the majority of the money that they make now and they are not investing the majority of it. They're just buying things that are adding some value to their life, but not quite enough to where it makes sense, and it's kind of hard to justify those purchases. And when you add up all those purchases, those are just adding up to more years that you have to be in the workforce. Not paying attention to small expenses. I think things like getting coffee at Starbucks every day or eating out constantly. I eat at home a lot. I make sure to cut out a lot of my small expenses. Things like memberships is something that you really have to keep a close eye on. So it is important to think about those. But in the grand scheme of things, like if it's a $10, like subscription and you have it for a year, that's $120 a year. It's not major, but if you have a lot of those, and it can obviously add up over time. Dating the wrong people. So what I can tell you is that I've dated nobody. So I can agree that dating the wrong person can get you into a lot of trouble. And I have, dealt with people that I could tell were with me for the wrong reasons, and that, my savings could have probably easily deteriorated over time. So I made sure to get those people out of my life as soon as possible. But you have to look at it from making sure that someone's not with you for the financial reasons. And also, there is a huge time component when it comes to dating someone. So if you want to be someone that is a good partner and show up to the relationship, and don't forget you're listening to someone who has zero dating experience, okay? So you want to show up, you want to be your best self, you want to give 50%, or you want to give 100% to that relationship, right? But you want that other person to also give 100%. So it's a 50-50 scenario, right? And if you want to give that relationship your all, which seems like the right thing to do, it's going to be very time consuming. It's going to take a lot of your resources, right? So if you can find the person that has the same mission as you, maybe you can help each other get to where you want to be. But for me personally, I work best alone. I know myself very well. I need everyone gone. I need to be at home alone, quiet by myself to make the most important decisions for myself, for my future. Because I can't even stand like someone sitting next to me that I can feel their energy and it's disrupting my thought process of how to make a decision. So I need to be like alone. Yes, I'm a little bit of a loner. Postpone. It is one thing to say that you want to become a millionaire and quite another to start doing it. If you want to get out of financial stagnation, then you need to take action as soon as possible. If you sit down with a financial professional to adjust your budget, this would be a great step to start doing rather than talking. No, a financial professional, they give you, in my opinion, too basic of things. You need to go to YouTube. You need to see what other people are doing. You need to get creative. When everyone goes left, you go right, or is that when everyone goes right, you go left? Does it matter? Just don't go in the same direction as everyone else, because everyone else is not going to be a millionaire. Do not take advice from people that still have jobs if you don't want a job, okay? And I tell you this because I was in a situation for a very long time where I had all these people telling me how stupid I was for dropping out of college, how stupid I was for starting a business, how stupid I was for investing in cryptocurrency. What a terrible idea. You're going to lose all your money. They have to go to work every day. I know. I do whatever I want. For now, at least. Okay? So make sure that you are picking the right people to listen to. Okay? So for me, I can never take advice from my parents when it comes to anything financial, because they are in a financial situation that's not bad, but not one that I desire or look up to. I have different plans. I have very different plans. So make sure that you're listening to the right people. Financial planners, financial advisors, I think they are a waste. You have to be very, very careful. You have to get creative if you're young and you want to really reach financial freedom and become a millionaire. You need to find creative ways to do it. And a financial professional is probably not going to help you out very much. I'm telling you, University of YouTube is where it's at. Drink and gamble. Okay, so I used to be a hardcore gambler, you guys. I'll never forget when I turned 21 years old. I went to the casino 4 times, and with those 4 times combined, I profited $6,000, and I was using this particular strategy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally like meant to be a professional gambler. And you know what? That really didn't turn out too well for me down the road. And so I've also gone through phases of not drinking for like 6 months. I've gone through phases of drinking a lot. I've gone through phases of, so for example, I used to gamble a lot. I still gamble, right? This is the thing, is that I don't want to go to the casino anymore, because my cryptocurrency portfolio is enough gambling for me. The little bit of stocks I do, that fills the void that my gambling heart desires, okay? So change your perspective. If you love to gamble, God, you're gonna love the stock market and you got a better shot. You know, you're gonna love the cryptocurrency market. You have a better shot. There was no scenario where I could have gone to the casino and invested $7,000 with the potential of earning, you know, if I would have held on to the original 1,000 Ethereum that I bought, it would have hit $4.4 million, okay? So within 4 to 5 years, I could have turned 7,000 into 4.4 million. The odds of that are never gonna happen at a casino. So I did my fair share of drinking. I currently do my fair share of drinking, and I used to gamble a lot. And you know what? I still able to manage to make $1 million by the time I was 24, okay? It's just not this like perfect little path that's going to get you there, okay? Watching too much TV. What I can say is that I'm really not into television. I have my handful of shows that I love to watch, but I try my best to watch things that are educational, like Shark Tank, The Prophet, but you know, got to throw in some trash TV in there like The Bachelor. There was a period of time though that I was addicted to ESPN and the NFL, but then I started my food truck business and I didn't have time for that anymore. So there was a period of times where I did a lot more TV watching or sports watching, but what I can say now is that I'm strictly on YouTube, and 90% of like the media that I consume is for educational purposes because I just love to learn. Not finding a mentor. So I had the most perfect mentor when I had my food truck business, Mr. Ron Whiting. What a saint. That guy helped me so much. For the food truck business, he was the perfect mentor. The perfect mentor. I never really found a crypto mentor. You know, I just kind of turned to YouTube and different videos, and I kind of just got a little bit of information from all these different people on YouTube to come to the decisions that I made when it came to my crypto portfolio. So find people that have been in the space for a while, right? People that have even been in the space for longer than me, and try to see exactly what they're doing. So I like to hear like 4 or 5 different people's opinions, and then you kind of get an idea of what the right decision will be for you, because you know their strategy shouldn't be exactly what you do. You know, you should always tweak things, because when you have to consider all the things, right? Age, income, where you live, what your goals and plans are. Everyone has to take a completely different approach. Stay in your comfort zone. So, you know, I have always been willing to try new things. And for example, like I used to be a 16-year-old that would talk shit about people who dropped out of college. And so at first, you know, the idea of dropping out of college was a huge idea, because I'm like, does that just automatically make me like a failure? But in that moment, I knew it was the right decision, because I looked around and I said, this is a joke. None of these business professors even have businesses. How are they supposed to be teaching me about business? And I'm like, I could take the money that I'm spent on tuition because I had to pay for college myself, or I could just go start a business, because I'm studying business with the concentration entrepreneurship. So starting an actual business just sounds like the better idea. Don't ask questions. I actually think that I would have more money and be more successful today if I asked more questions. I am someone that really struggles with asking questions to people. I ask questions to Google all day, but sometimes there's just certain people that have the exact answers that you need, you know? So I just always think I'm bothering someone or just being a burden. So if if the sooner you can get over that, if you're afraid to ask questions, the better, because you will learn so much more. Being consumed by failure. There has been times where I have lost tons of money and my ideas completely failed. Let me give you a few examples. I wrote a book that basically flopped. I lost 33 Bitcoin with USI Tech. I recently lost $170,000 with a friend I invested in who was trading stocks. But guess what? I don't get caught up in it. I emotionally detach from my money because money flows in and out of my life. Okay, and I know that it's easy to attain. There is plenty of it out there. So instead of just sitting around and crying about the times I've lost, why would I spend a single ounce of energy doing that when I could take all that energy and go find a new opportunity? So that's what I do. Something fails, forget about it, move on to the next opportunity and go find the next opportunity. Not setting daily goals. So I've never been one to set goals, but I do have a to-do list. I guess those are my daily goals. One thing that is a really great tip is the 5-minute journal. I'm gonna go and put a link down below so you can check that out on Amazon. This journal is crazy. You write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and then you write down 3 things that you're gonna do to make that day great. And sometimes I would write down these big, bold goals for the day that I was like, I don't know how I could potentially pull this off. And then the next day, 2 days later, they would suddenly happen. It's like you are storing things in your subconscious mind. You're doing things to subconsciously get there. So that, my friend, is one of the coolest ways that you can set goals. Thinking negatively. So I have really trained my brain to see the positive in almost every single situation. It's not always easy, but you have to train your brain. People's brain just gravitates and is attracted to negative shit, okay? That's why people still watch the news, and I have no idea why people watch the news because it's just so negative, right? Like they report car accidents of families dying, and I'm just like, what value are you adding by just making me super fucking sad right now? So the news, especially local news, I just don't understand it at all. They just report the saddest, most negative things, but people are addicted to that in this sick sort of way. Train your mind to see the positive in things, see the positive in people, to see the positive in situations. There's always, always, always a silver lining. Don't save. So I don't like to save money because I like to invest my money. My money is on fire if it's sitting in the bank, on fire, physically on fire, disintegrating, okay? I want almost no money in my bank and I want everything invested. That's how I roll. Number 19, make excuses. It's so easy to make excuses all the time, but it's gonna get you absolutely nowhere. I can say that I am someone who has made very few excuses, and I always, almost always take responsibility, even if it's not my fault, okay? And it's probably not the healthiest thing to do because I think it's a control situation. It's always my fault, so then I can be in control. But it is important to realize that being a good leader is taking responsibility for your actions. And sometimes, I always try to find a way I try to find a way to set the stage to where it's this was my fault. Even though it could have been 10% my fault or 90% someone else's, I'm like, nope, I'm taking responsibility. That's my fault. Failure to follow the 70-30 rule. Jim Rohn, one of the country's leading business authority figures, has a simple formula for building your wealth. After paying your taxes, learn to live with 70% of your income for your necessities and luxuries. It's important to see how you allocate the remaining 30% after that. Ron suggests giving 1/3 to charity, 1/3 to equity investments, and the last third to savings. You won't notice anything at first, but let 5 years go by and the difference will be noticeable. 10 years later, they will be completely solid. Okay, so a few things to unpack here, because this is actually quite interesting. Depending who you are and where you live, right? If you come to Puerto Rico, you're not even paying taxes, so you're saving a ton of money that way. And 70% is kind of a lot. I think that it's important to not suffer, but just, for example, I'm not suffering in my apartment, but it's super outdated and small. I'm okay with it because I know how much money I'm saving. All my friends are paying $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 in rent. I'm just no, $800, utilities included, and Wi-Fi. Shit, I want my landlord to hear how excited I am about how cheap my rent is. So he says 1/3 to charity. So I think it's important to think about something like this. In most situations, charity is prolonging someone's suffering. It depends what kind of charity we're talking about. If you want your charity dollars to go far and to make a bigger impact, what if you were to give someone a loan or even sponsor someone that wanted to start a small business? You could be creating jobs, giving people the opportunity to provide for themselves. Then he says 1/3 to equity investments and the last third to savings. There's a point where, if you have like 6 months of your expenses saved up in your savings, that's one thing. But if you start going beyond that, then that, in my opinion, is not really a very good approach. If you reach the point where you have 6 months in savings for all your expenses, you should be putting all of that money that's going towards it into investments. So that's kind of my approach there. So I want to know what you thought about this video. Since I have only 7,000 subscribers, I'm just throwing darts at anything money related and seeing what you guys like the best. So if you like this sort of content, let me know. Go ahead and check out the links down below to support my channel. That is all I have for you today. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.